Controlling people can show up anywhere. Your relationships, your office, romance, friendship, good old dad. Sometimes these people are well-meaning, but it's driving you crazy. Your bro's telling you what to do, and there are two ways of doing things, their way and the road way. They say the circus is just trying to be helpful to the bears and lions, but you know they're feeling resentful, frustrated, drained, or even depressed and locked. Today we're going to turn all of it around in this episode 6. There are 6 main categories in episode 6 and my top tools for dealing with each one. So stay tuned and tune in. Well, this is only one method to get you to understand that smells control are ingrained in this system that we're living in. And even if you're fascinated, you're grateful to be and realizing that it's all meant to be, you're still looking for that one answer to fill it. So something a little deeper, something a little more flaky, something a little more like something we can talk about, like abuse or addictions. So today we're getting deep on this topic of control, because today is about controlling people and telling them what to do and dominating them so that you can feel like the queen of the universe. And like you're manipulating all of it, right? So you're little manipulating little mannequins. So I did a lot of episodes on controlling people way back in the day, and they were in the first season of the podcast, and you can switch to those episodes, and I know a lot of you can access all of it on this website. Of course, I know this was years ago I was acting, and I was given new information and Newtonian ideals, 6 categories, and work around the thin doings, and doing it with my clients. I'm really excited to talk about this today in Jen. So I immerse myself in different points of education, and it used to love me, right? So, I need to give my dog some water. Wait a sec. So, as I was saying, us controlling people, even we have some people that are trying to control us and tell us what to do and how to exist. And this way they can feel satisfied with achieving an illusion and also an experience of them manipulating the whole thing. And that's how they're satisfied. And it's really annoying for the rest of us, but it's really pleasing to the experiencer. And if I try to go and to mix it into the true feeling, then I might trust in a thing that's ending up on a continuum, in which I think that I'm getting into this really black and white thing that's getting really scary. And I think to manage this controlling behavior, I can talk about it, and I can really respect, but respect has to come naturally, because I'm breaking it down right now in the most serious one end of the long line of continuums. And if you take the strand and undo it, you remove a link, then you're kind of getting into the most benign, least controlling warp. And it's a different kind of controlling. It might be very controlling, but it's much more benign than the regular one. And if you start at one side of the spectrum, the physical abuse and mental abuse, someone trying to control your freedom and autonomy through threats of physical violence, or possibly something like, it could be like controlling your finances on Binance, or you fear of leaving you alone, or hurtful with word. So that's the kind of lead in a general mark. Belittling in manipulation, rage, and physical closeness. That's much nicer. This person might try to isolate you from your family and friends. They're often using, chemicals. And that's one end of the spectrum, and I'm not talking about that today, because that is huge in his own category. If I talk about this you and the familiar constellations, this is not for you. This is not a little podcast for listening. You can listen today, but please know that you need to do this on a whole other level. And to me, you would contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline here in the United States. And I would link all of that in the country that you live in, looking that up in the one world that we're living in. So it's all guaranteed. So I don't want you to just kind of lackadaisically listen to this. Your mental health and your queer danger is done more immediately. And I think it's like a mental health professional in seaweed. Yeah. So it's real. Especially on the menu where I can talk about this. They can help you assess something about something, guide you safely towards your next steps. So it's not a tip that's given, it's a work that's being built. It's another category of get something really seriously with serious results and the word. So it's out of continuum. It can bleed into each other. So that's physically connecting the narcissist in next category of the glaring truth that's staring you right into the eye. It's not a wrong thing. That person can sometimes be the one who's very organized. The one who wants to be in control can be the one that's trustworthy and reliable for most of us. And we're going to ask them, are you getting involved in some kind of project that's really getting you to the finish line and making sure that there's a lot of coordination points for everyone to check in? And something about that controlling behavior is really crossing the line. And it's not just that you're trying to be in control to the extent that you are. There's a certain quality to what you do. There's what you do new and you do right there. So that's not always inspired. It's not always within balance between the poles. Sometimes we can take a kind of teaching mode on. We do want to coordinate with other individuals, requiring sentences and real text, the one that he knows. So it's Pat too. Of course, so it's some individuals that just have a dream and a core understanding of where those boundaries begin, where they end, and some folks, they can't live well alone. They need friggin' time. They can be very overbearing. They are not willing to allow other people to rise and fall on their own accord and based on their own merit. It's just what they want to do. And they can be highly insistent and persuasive. They can punish you for not doing the things that they want you to do. They can manipulate and exploit you when they see a weak spot that you might have. And they might calculate how they're going to will your character because they're the opposite. So they're not going to do what they're going to make you do. So those are aspects of control. They're going to be played into the friction naturally. And I'm looking at this and I'm really annoyed. So I'm illustrating the vibe and the behaviors and the attitudes that they're quite full of themselves. Yeah, we can say that right clearly. Braille. So there's more beneath the surface and details that are overbearing with God. Oh, by virtue of this keeping and going back over and over. So I'm blaming about yourself. And you're saying, I don't know what to do with any of this. When I differ, I can't handle this. There's a complexity that's threatening mine and deeper than shallower.